Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Playmates toys Voltron, the legendary defender Blue Lion. Now, just to add to this is the blue line, but these are the non-transforming lines coming to us from the folks over at Playmates Toys. Actually, a big thank you to Playmates for sending this over. They also sent another Voltron toy that we will be looking at shortly. Now, the difference between this one and the transforming lines is obviously the other ones transform and form Voltron, whereas these ones are more play-active toys that have a gimmick feature. In this case, the button-activated jump attack featured for the Blue Lion. Spin around the back of the package, you can show how it does show, for example, how it does pounce. Voltron, defender of the universe, long ago in a mighty robot warrior, Voltron was created to protect the galaxy from evil. Now 5 young heroes must master the power of the Voltron Lions to defeat Galra Empire and restore peace. Pilot, by the way, of the Blue Line, pilot is Lance, primary attack is the Ice Ray, primary information Voltron right leg, battle mode, ideal for underwater battles with sonar and sonic weapons. Some of the other things that you can pick up down below of the play-active lions, you have the blue line, red line, black line, green line, and yellow line, as well as there's a Mizax, and there's also the Lion Attack Voltron and Sword Attack Voltron, which I think is the one we'll be looking at next. To check out more from the folks over at Playmates Toys, head over to www.playmatestoys.com. You can also head over to www.voltron.com if you want to head out and check out more information about the new series. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the button-activated, keep wanting to say jump-activated, button-activated jump attack Blue Lion from Voltron, the legendary defender. There's more anyway, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Okay, so now that we have the Blue Line out of packaging, let's get a better look at it. Now, one thing I have to stress is that these particular lions will not have the transforming capabilities that the larger ones did have. What instead Playmates did was they released 2 versions of the Voltron lions. One's with gimmicks, as you can see right here, we'll see with the blue line, and then one as transformable, which you could merge into the Voltron robot. I've already had a look at that Blue Line as well as the others, so if you'd like to check out those videos, head on over after this video and check them out. So what we get essentially here is a more scaled down version of the Blue Line. Its coloring is quite nice. Now, one thing, unfortunately, because it's heavily gimmicked, it doesn't really have much in the way of articulation. The posability on the line, the back end of it, for example, is spring locked, which will be released with the button. I'll show you how that works in a second. The front also has a spring, but does not lock in place. The only posability actually that the line does seem to have, I wouldn't say the tail, but the tail looks like it's affixed and it's just more a rubbery tail, but it does have some posability in the head, as well as the mouth can open too. Giving you a scale comparison though, because it would be fitting to show how he looks versus the transforming Blue Line, there's the transforming Blue Line right there. To a testament actually, at least to the smaller scale lions, if you were looking just to play with the lions, not transform them in any way, shape, or form, because you have really these guys to do it. I like the proportions quite a bit on these smaller gimmick lions actually. It looks and flows better, I think, in a more cat sculpt, where for obvious reasons the larger lions, because they had to transform, end up looking a little bit more blockier, a little bit more straight and cube-like in their shape. It does have posability, yes, but it does look a little bit more blockier. This one looks much more streamlined, and again, just because unfortunately it does have a gimmick in place, I think if you wanted just to simply play with the blue lines, play with the red line, play with the yellow line, and just kind of pretend like you're a kid flying these around and and playing with them that way, these more than make up for it, because then they're smaller. And again, you can pretend more like these are just the lines themselves. If you want to get then to the transforming end of it, well, yes, you do have these ones that have the more posable actions and more posability to them, but they do result looking a little bit more blockier by comparison. I really like the shape of these. These just feel a little bit more cat-like, I think, by comparison. Colors also seem to be the exact same. The larger line is afforded a little bit more in the way of coloring. For example, the yellows and everything are still there, but it looks like there's a lot more going, especially like the black portion of the nose is colored in, whereas the smaller line doesn't have that, nor does the smaller line have the additional blue right underneath its chin that the larger line was afforded. So yes, it doesn't have as much in the way of the coloring, it doesn't have much in the way of the posability that the larger lines have, but I do think that there is warrant for picking up these, if for just the fact that you want to play with the lines themselves. Let's have a look at the gimmick though. We'll move the larger line out of the way because we've already had a look at him. Again, if you haven't seen the reviews of those guys, check them out and let me know what you guys think in those videos. So essentially what you do for the jumping action of the lion is that you got to just bring the back end down, or really, for that matter, you could... The instructions, not really much in the way of the instructions, but the back of the package kind of indicates more so that you can pull back the lion and sit him into place that way. But you can easily do it also with the legs. Just bring the legs forward until it locks into place. And as you can see, it stays in place. It also looks quite good too by even having him sitting in place. Even though the back feet, as you can see, don't sit flat. They sit more on an angle. But at least if you want to have them more as a proud line, kind of standing upright, guarding a temple, you know, if they all kind of essentially were able to do that, that would be a nice look as well for a smaller scale version of the Voltron lions. But what you will then do, bring that forward once again, and then you'll press the button that's on the top of the line right here, very visibly right there in the spine section of the line. Go ahead and press the button right here, and you'll see how he leaps. Sometimes a little bit better than others, but we'll press it again. And yeah, just try it one more time. Let's try actually bringing the line back and see if we fare a little bit better with that. Press the button again. Yeah, it doesn't leap the greatest. I think if you look at the packaging, let's bring in, where's the packaging on the blue line? Let's bring it in right here. It does kind of look as if more so it lunges forward. I don't really feel like it lunges forward. It sort of springs. Now, granted, I will kind of overlook it slightly because keeping in mind that this is fabric, a lot of the built-up pouncing has basically been exhausted on a fabric material like this. If this was, say, on a flatter surface, I feel like this would spring a little bit better. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, it doesn't seem to do as well on this fabric backdrop. Now, each of the lines, as far as I'm aware, each of the lines kind of have their own gimmick to them. So one is unique to itself. The pouncing action on the blue line is not something that you will see then on the red line, the green line. The downside, though, and nothing really against specifically the lions, but availability. Availability on these, at least in Canada, I don't even think Canada has any of these yet. The States, I've heard from you guys, the viewers out there, and I've seen on Twitter and whatnot, that the lions here, the transforming lions are a little harder to come by, but the more gimmick lions seem a little bit more available and a little bit more accessible. Sadly, I don't have that here in Canada. Going to Toys R Us, going to Walmart, going to the stores, the outlets where I normally go to find these things, there is not a single Voltron anything toy to be found. None to be had whatsoever. Lucky to, again, thank you to the folks over at Playmates for sending this one along to me. And as for the transforming lines, I essentially had to pick them up on eBay just because I couldn't find them anywhere. So distribution, I have to admit, is it's a little sad, unfortunately, for the Voltron stuff. The Ninja Turtle stuff we're still getting quite a bit here in Canada, and I think we're still pretty much on par with what the United States are getting in the way of their stock. But Voltron stuff, we got nothing. Which is kind of a shame, really. These, I mean, they're not quite, they don't have the merits, I would think. Let's bring it in once again. I don't think they have quite the fun aspect of transforming as the larger lions do. The larger lions, again, much bigger, much bulkier, also much more expensive too, but at least they have the appeal. The one thing that you would want Voltron lions to do is to transform and turn into Voltron. But again, I wouldn't necessarily dismiss these little guys, because one thing that they do have and they bring to the table is that they do look a little bit more cat-like in their shape. They're not blocky just by virtue of the fact that they have to transform into Voltron, so sacrifices have to be made so that this Voltron leg is a very blocky, straight leg. These ones can be a little bit more afforded. I wish, if anything, they had more posability. Maybe relied less on gimmick and had a little bit more posability to them, where they had the articulation in the elbows, the legs, and stuff like that. So that if you were playing with these solely, you could at least play, you know, with these strictly from the lions, and then you had the larger lions that you could transform into Voltron. Today's toy spot, we were having a look. This was the Voltron Defender of the Universe, and this was the jumping blue lion. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. Thanks for watching. See you next time.